I'm trying to get on between 3 and 4 every day. So, welcome back, whoever's gonna come on today. But today I wanna talk about holiday overload versus holiday meaning. This is a time when a lot of people really experience, holiday overload, and that's a combination of unrealistic expectations, old family roles, money pressure, emotional landmines. All of these can happen around the holidays, and it can make us feel really like we're overloaded, overwhelmed. The feeling that the holidays should be feeling amazing, but we're feeling like there's pressure there. So think about all of the unrealistic expectations we put on ourselves, from decorating, from being cheerful all the time, to feeling like we need to um, be there for people, go to a ton of holiday parties. Maybe you're not an extrovert, maybe you're an introvert, and you feel like you have to go to a ton of parties or meet up with people or do gatherings or host or make a lot of things like baked goods or things like that for people. That can feel like overload. And that could be an unrealistic expectation if you're working, if you're doing other things, if you're caring for people. Some of that might be too much. Old family roles. How many times have those step into play to make it feel like the holidays are an overload, that there are so many family dynamics that you have to hurdle during the holidays? Um, People are getting together and maybe they don't all play nicely. And that can be a burden for holiday overload. Maybe you're traveling to stay with people, or people are coming to stay with you. Those old family roles can really feel like overload, even though you might be looking forward to it, even though it's an expected part of the holidays. It can make you feel overloaded. Money pressure is a big one. During the holidays, we're expected to really give a lot. And how many times has anybody found that they're in a pinch and they need an extra gift for somebody? And that just happens throughout the season. But also, there's the pressure to get gifts that you really want to surprise somebody with or give somebody something really amazing. And that can be a real source of pressure. Also, all the emotional landmines that we face during the holidays. It can be work, the work parties. It can be the emotional landmines. Maybe you lost somebody. Maybe there's something happening, and it feels like it's an emotional landmine that you're trying to skirt the whole time. Maybe you're trying to avoid some of the family traditions because it feels like a landmine that you're going through. So these are some of the things that can make us feel like we're in holiday overload. A lot of people carry silent grief, loss, divorce, estrangement. You might not have the kids if you have kids during the holiday. It can really make it difficult if you just get married and then you're saying, oh my gosh, I have to share the holiday with my new spouse. That can be a big deal. So there are scripts that we follow during the holidays that are, those are really something that we're looking forward to usually, but these are the things that make us feel really overloaded. So what we really need to do is look at the scripts that we have for the holiday. A holiday script is the story that you absorbed about what holidays are supposed to look like. The perfect family, the Norman Rockwell family, the nonstop joy, endless giving, the house is decorated amazing, all the food is delicious. This is often shaped by childhood, media, social comparison. I know right now, if you go on social media, there's a ton of holiday stuff up. Everybody's got amazing trees. The decor is amazing. And that script can feel really hard to take on. So if we look at that, that script does not match our real life, if we're not decorating in the way that everybody else is, if we don't have that joy in our household, maybe we're alone, whatever the deal is, that can make the holidays feel really like we're overcompensating, like we're trying to avoid things, like we're feeling distress in some way, it really can put us into overload. So, these are some of the things that most people experience, but it's not talked a lot about. We in the US love a good holiday theme story. There's a ton of movies out there. All this season, there are all these joyful times. Everybody's talking about giving. That can feel hard. What if you aren't able to give what you'd want to give? What if you, need to give someplace else and you can't give everywhere and it makes you feel bad? These are the kinds of things that people don't talk as much about, but that can be part of the script that can make it harder for us. So, midlifers, people in Gen X, this hits you the hardest because midlife is often when people feel in the middle of everything. There are kids, aging parents, work demands, your own health to worry about, your own identity. So holidays can feel like one more job instead of a break. This is a time when it feels oftentimes like it's an extra chore that's added on to the last quarter of the year. And that is an absolute overload, and it's not like people love talking about that so much because everybody else seems to be so holly jolly and excited about the holidays. So Gen X in particular tends to default to self-reliance. I'm just going to push through this. And that can make it harder to ask for help or to redesign a tradition that no longer works, to review your identity, to say, this is where I am now, and this is my new way of thinking about things. So this is something that can be really tricky for Gen Xers. And Gen Xers are the group that's most at risk for this. So if you're in midlife or you're a Gen Xer and any of this resonates, you are not alone. Thank you for liking. I appreciate you, MT09. So this is something that, if you're feeling like this, you're not alone. The script that's out there is often one that doesn't match with people. And that is what often makes it hard. So it's super important to really take a look at, thank you for liking, to take a look at thank you, Minty Crumbs, what your narrative is, what your script is, what your identity is. And remember that the holiday season is just a small part of the year. And you do not have to jump on that bandwagon the same way maybe you always were. Maybe it felt great when you were a kid, and as an adult, it feels like a chore. That's okay. That's definitely okay. So, what actually fills people up during this time is meaning. And this is easier than most people think to get, but it feels far away when we're trying to chase some of the things like that are really sort of concrete, like decor or having your, gifts, things like that are really out there that cost money or make us feel stressed. So meaning usually comes from things like feeling connected. This is something that you can feel connected by just checking in with somebody, texting somebody, calling somebody, even if it's to say, hey, happy holidays. How are you doing during the holidays? I was just thinking of you. That sort of thing, that feeling connected. It can also be getting together with people in ways that are not overwhelming, that are not overstimulating, that aren't making you feel like you're breaking the bank to do it. This is something that you could do on Zoom so that you feel like you can be connected in whatever way that you want or need to be. Feeling useful is also a really big deal. Thank you. So feeling useful is something like volunteering. So I just volunteered right before Thanksgiving because I wanted to do a turkey drive with one of the local organizations that I belong to. It's an annual event. People do it every year. It took up 2 hours of my morning. And then I got to feel really good. I got to feel really useful. It didn't cost me anything to do that. I got to meet up with other people who were feeling really useful also. And so this is something that you could do that allows you to feel the holiday spirit without costing you any money, without adding any of the extra pressure, that doesn't have anything to do with decor, that doesn't have to do anything with buying things. Um, Another thing, with meaning is when you can feel aligned with your personal values. So the holidays can often creep up and they may not align with your values. You may not be a person who usually goes out and spends a lot of money on things or people. It may be a time when you don't decorate your house with and spend a lot of money doing that, or baking and having extra things that are added to your day. So when you think of this, this is something that you can really make sure that you're aligning your personal values with the holidays. Maybe you like your personal value is feeling connected and useful. Well, do that and say, this is a part of my holiday tradition, and maybe it's a new one for you. I had never done turkey drive before. It now is going to be a new tradition for me. It feels good. I feel useful. This is something particularly good if you're an empty nester, your kids aren't home, you get to go do something outside the house, you get to still feel useful, feel connected with others. That can align with your personal values. You can even bring family members to go do something like that's useful, to start a new tradition. These kinds of things that take away from the sort of consumerism that makes a lot of people feel overwhelmed is something that can make you feel really good. So when we're starting to think of how impressive the holiday looks from the outside, that's when we have to really say to ourselves, okay, what's in this for me? Where am I in this? And what's the meaning that I want to get from this holiday season, instead of let me chase the holiday season and follow things that are out there that may not even be aligned with me, but I want to keep up with what everybody is doing. There's a sort of a FOMO, a feeling of missing out with the holiday, that a lot of people jump on that bandwagon and chase, whereas you can just step back, feel connected, feel useful, align with your personal values, only do the things that really matter to you. Some really small, consistent moments can really matter. This could be honest conversations that you have with people that maybe you haven't spoken with in a while. This can be any, really small ritual that you have, one act of giving, being creative, and creating more lasting memories than big, exhausting productions. I know I was feeling this yesterday because I started making a photo album for both of my kids. So I was doing that so that I could, and my kids are older, and I wanted to do something that I thought would matter to them, not just this year, but would matter to them for future years. And so I decided that I'm going to try to do something that's just a little bit meaningful. I'd have fun doing it. And that could be a new kind of a ritual, a different kind of giving that'll create more lasting memories than big, exhausting productions that, we may not, people may not appreciate as much as of the effort that we put into it. So, just shifting and trying to align whatever you're doing with your values. That is usually going to be well received by others, and it usually doesn't have to cost a lot of money. So when we redesign the holidays on purpose, this is something that also brings a lot of meaning. And thank you, Misty Crumbs. You are awesome. Minty Crumbs, sorry. Redesign doesn't mean throwing everything away. It means keeping only the things that really matter to you. So think about the holiday season. What matters to you and what drains you? Is there anything that you think of that is something that you don't ever want to give up? And is there anything that you say, oh, I have to do that again? That I think that, everybody has certain aspects of the holidays that they say, this matters to me. I'd love to pass this on. This does not do it for me. So redesign just means keeping what truly matters and trimming the things that drain you. You don't have to get rid of everything, but trim away some of the things that really drain you. and add one or two new rituals if you want that reflect who you are now. So the holidays can change with you every year as you redesign, as you get older, as your life changes. You can add in new traditions. You can take away the ones that you outgrew or that you never liked, but they were part of your family traditions. Um, and you can ask yourself, if the goal of this season was to feel connected, calm, and kind, what would you say? What would you do? Where would you go? What would you try to do differently? So if you want to feel connected, who are you calling? Who are you reaching out to you? What are you going to do? Where would you go? Just ask yourself that for this season. There's always somebody that you could say, I haven't talked to somebody in a long time. Oh, but I'm not sure if I want to. It's awkward. It never is for the person that's being reached out to. They're always excited to hear from somebody. So try to do something a little bit differently. Think of anything at all. It's going to make you feel a little more connected to the holiday, and it's going to take away some of that overload. The whole idea of the holiday is to avoid overload and add meaning. And sometimes it can be just one tweak that you make that shifts it from overload to meaning. It doesn't have to be a big deal sometimes. And sometimes you might just be feeling like it's not doing it for me. I feel like I'm in the holiday season. It's kind of blah for me. Maybe you had a lot of things that you used to do or people did things for you. So go out and try one thing that's going to be a meaningful thing to you. Maybe volunteer somewhere, maybe get a group of people together, do a potluck, do a cookie making group, whatever it is that you like. It could be anything. Start it. You can be a person that starts a new tradition. That is something that can become your legacy in the end, if you wanted it to. My grandmother's legacy was that she shared her handwritten recipes for Thanksgiving. And I make that same recipe all the recipes exactly like she made it every year. Start something that you want to pass down, and don't put the things in there that you don't want passed down. You don't have to put anything in your holidays that you don't want. Holiday is for you. So I'm going to give you some things to avoid overload. So use these as sort of red flags for yourself so that you can recognize them. So how often have you said yes out of guilt? The holiday season is so full of people saying yes out of guilt. Oh, sure, I'll do that. I'll make that. I'll go to that. I'll do that. And it's because you feel guilty. Like, oh, if I don't do it, I'm going to feel bad. Somebody's going to miss out or somebody's going to feel left out. I have to. It's that guilt, right? So that's a red flag. Try to avoid that. You do not have to say yes. So if you agree to every invitation, every obligation, every request, you always host, you're the one who shops, you're the one who does everything, you're the one who makes everything, even when the capacity is already maxed out, that is going to lead to overload. That's going to wreck your holiday for you. It's going to make you feel like your holiday isn't great. And so simply not saying yes out of guilt is going to help you. Hi, Connie. Good to see you. So one thing to avoid is saying yes out of guilt. Say yes to the things that you want, but not the things that you don't want to do. You will not feel that guilt forever. Just protect yourself, right? The holidays are for you to feel good too. So protect yourself. You don't have to do everything. Another thing is avoid planning for a perfect holiday. There's never a perfect holiday. Something happens, something, always jumps in there and can make it so that it doesn't feel perfect. And perfect is often defined by things that can never be met. So imagine that you try to plan for a perfect holiday and your family doesn't all get along. That's going to be a blow to you if you are trying to plan for something like that. If you're planning for a perfect holiday and everything has to look amazing and absolutely perfect and you're on a budget, well, think it through. It's okay. You can do it, however you want. Maybe you make one space really amazing. But if you're planning for a picture perfect holiday that somebody else has defined as perfect, then you are going to always feel like you never made it. So create really rigid mental images of how people should behave, how the house should look, or how the food should turn out. And then watch yourself feel really devastated when it doesn't match. So all you need to do is have a little bit less rigidity in the mental images that you have about how people should behave, how the house should look, how the food should turn out, how all of the parties should be, how everything should be in this whole holiday season. As long as you can avoid being super rigid about that, you are going to have a much better holiday. Another thing to avoid is overspending to buy feelings. We all get that. Using gifts or decor or travel to compensate for guilt or insecurity, and then starting the new year with all kinds of financial anxiety and resentment. So you can maybe buy your gifts early in the year and then you say, oh, I better get some more, or you just keep on going. Those are the things that if you can try to avoid overspending to buy feelings, replace some of those things with other things like connecting, being useful. You can say and do nice things with people. But just try to really watch yourself with that one. Another thing is to ignore your emotional state. A lot of people say, and Gen Xers are right in here, I am going to push down everything I'm feeling and get through this holiday. That's not what it's about. So pushing down grief, anger, loneliness, exhaustion, just to keep the peace. This often leads to a person snapping. Somebody says something, that's a trigger, and you're off to the races. It can also mean numbing until later. It can mean that you're missing out in some other way because you just sort of tuned out. So don't ignore your emotional state. If something's really triggering you or bothering you, see if you can make a tweak in that. It's not the time to push down your anger, grief, loneliness, or exhaustion. It's the time to reach out and talk to somebody, maybe talk to a therapist, talk to somebody that you might be able to, talk about things through the holidays, talk with a friend. But this is not the time to push down those emotions. They will come back, right? And you don't need to keep the peace. You need to really work through your emotions and make sure that you're really present, but not, needing to snap if somebody says something that really bothers you. So do not overschedule every day. I see people doing this all the time. So if somebody's, hey, Soleil Lens, good to see you here. So if you're overscheduling every day, packing the calendar with back-to-back events, travel, activities, so you don't have any rest or reflection. I mean, come on, we need reflection. Unscripted time. You need to keep the calendar free for doing that. Otherwise, the holiday just flies by and you didn't actually engage in it or enjoy it because you were just on go mode. Replaying old family roles, try to avoid this. It's so easy to slide automatically back into childhood roles. Maybe somebody's the scapegoat. Maybe somebody's the fixer, the peacekeeper, the comedian. You might be one of these or all of these, and it can be easy to just automatically go into that role because it feels easy. You know what you're supposed to do. Everybody has an expected role. It's all going to be easier that way. Try to avoid that, though, because it ends up having all kinds of boundary issues. It never works out well, and it doesn't lead to having good memories later. Another thing to avoid is drinking or eating as the main coping strategy. Now, this one's a tough one. I know that if I can eat a cookie, if I'm feeling stressed, I'll do it. But relying heavily on alcohol or food to survive awkward gatherings, a lot of people do this during the holidays to avoid painful feelings, which can worsen during the holidays. This makes your mood worse, sleep worse, and you are probably going to get into a conflict if you do this. So avoiding those is also really important. And, there's a lot of drink and food around during the holidays, which makes it harder to avoid that if that's one of your coping strategies. So keep that in mind because that is something that is a big one for a lot of people. Another one to avoid forcing togetherness for everyone. Everybody doesn't have to participate in every tradition. Some people might not like every tradition. No, everybody doesn't have to participate in all of them. So, let people do what they want. Everybody should be able to have the experience that they're looking for. Um, Another one to avoid doom scrolling and comparison. When you start scrolling, you are comparing yourself to others. Oh, wow, look at all those things people are buying. Oh my, you could even feel bad about people who are buying a lot of gifts for other people and you're not able to do that. That can feel really bad and magnify any shame or dissatisfaction. So do not do that. Like go watch puppies or something. Like do that. Do not doom scroll on anything that is going to allow you to feel comparison. So try to avoid online comparing your holidays to carefully curated posts, to people who are doing really big, things that you may not be able to or even want to engage in. You can, you can watch puppies, you can watch babies, you can watch, nature, something else. Pick something else to watch or don't watch it at all. And also skipping any self-care until January. So many people do this. They just stop taking care of themselves because they're in go mode. So they don't take any care of any sleep routines. They don't walk or move. They don't go to the gym. They stop therapy during the holiday season. They do not engage in supportive practice. There's just not enough time because they're so over engaged in everything else that they have to do. And that removes all of the key stabilizers just when you really need them. So this is not the time to skip therapy or to, not sleep or to over commit yourself to things or to stop any of your supportive practices. A lot of people have supportive groups they go to. That might be, it doesn't have to be set, identified as a support group, but it could be, maybe it's an exercise group that you feel supported by. Maybe it's a book club, whatever it is. Don't stop it now. So those are all the things that you should look at as red flags. But now you can do a lot of things, right? So this is, if you sometimes do things, these are the green lights that I'm going to tell you about, the things that you should do. Small, realistic shifts that you can put into place right now, immediately. So the first thing you can do is set an intention, a simple intention for the season. Choose a word or a phrase. Maybe the word for yours is going to be calm. Maybe it's going to be connection. Maybe it's going to be enough. And use that as your filter. So if an activity does not support that intention, consider not doing it or reshaping it in a way that could work for you. So maybe your intention is going to be connection, usefulness, calm, or enough. Make sure that when you have things that come up, that you make sure that they fit within that. And if they don't, that you either say, should I be doing that? Or say to yourself, I think I can tweak this to make it fit. So try that. Another thing you can do is to choose 1 to 3 non-negotiable traditions. So just a few little things that are must-keep rituals. Maybe it's the meal that you serve. Maybe it's that you do one thing during the holidays. It's a movie night. Maybe it's that you all take a walk, or maybe you take a walk. Maybe it's one service activity that you do, and let everything else be optional. So you can keep just 1 to 3 non-negotiable traditions. That sets the tone so that it's not a failure if you miss 10 that you expect that you should be doing. So if you give yourself just 1 to 3 non-negotiables during the holidays, that's really going to make you feel like you're winning. right? When you're able to do those. So another thing to do is practice good enough hosting. You do not have to go and check all the baseboards in your house to see if there's no dust. You do not have to go and make sure that when you're hosting that you have so much food. I am guilty of this one. So much food that everyone is absolutely overstuffed. Now, I'm guilty of that. I cannot help that. That's how I host. But have a simpler menu, do potluck, paper plates, shorter time windows. You do not have to have your house so perfect that you're freaking out, before people come. People come to be with you. And that's what you should be thinking of. So practice good enough hosting. That's all you need, is to be good enough. Also, another thing is to use pre-planned boundary phrases. So think of one that you could use to say no to people, right? So anything calm, so that it's an easy one for you. I'd love to, but I can't this year. You don't need an explanation. I'd love to, but I can't this year. And this one's hard for people because they think they need to come up with a big explanation. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'd love to, but I can't this year. That's easy enough, right? I can't this year. I'm so sorry. You do not need to add an extra explanation to that. This one is a hard one for a lot of people. So you can even say, if you need a follow-up, oh, I'm trying something smaller and slower this year. I'm really focusing on taking things a little slower this year. Easy. You can do that. Somebody is going to understand that. And if they don't, keep that in mind. Why don't they? Why do you need to give a bigger explanation? Another thing you can do is build in white space days. I know I need this in my holiday season. I need this throughout the year. Protect at least a few blank or low-key days with no formal plans where you can rest, reset, allow spontaneous connection or quiet time, just to do some of the things that you like to do when you relax. I know I need this. I always try to set this in. It is not you being lazy. It is you resetting. It's making space. Another thing that you can do is create micro connection rituals. So, you can do things like do a check-in. Maybe at dinner time, you just check in with somebody. It's a text, right? You don't have to do a lot. It could be a phone call. You can do a short walk with one person. You don't have to do a group walk. You can share your playlist with somebody that you make during the holiday season. You can do a quick video call with somebody who isn't around. You can do any kind of a gratitude check-in with somebody. And that's something that if you can do a little teeny tiny thing every day, that actually is an amazing, it has such impact. People don't realize the amount of impact that has on people when they are engaging in that way. So another thing that you can do is include someone who might be alone. Invite somebody, a neighbor, a colleague, a friend without nearby family, to a meal, to a walk, to a simple hangout, turning the holiday into something that has to do with community. It feels useful. It feels like connection. There's a lot in there that you could do. You could even just do that for dessert, something like that. Another thing to do is add one giving or service act. It doesn't even have to be more than an hour. It could be even less than that. And choose something realistic. Maybe it's that you're donating things. Maybe you're not buying things, but you're donating things. That's a big one. This is a great time to donate. And then you can feel like that's an act of service, because it is. There are people who want your stuff. If you go online, thrifting is a huge thing. People love it. So think of that as a service. You do not have to buy during the holiday season. You can donate. If you want to contribute money, you can, to an organization that you feel really positive about. Volunteer just for a short something, anything at all. Or involve kids into choosing a cause. Shift the focus from performance to contribution. That is so powerful. It really can carry you through the whole holiday. Keep anchors for your nervous system. This is another one. Maintain a few basic stabilizers, consistent nighttime rituals. Make sure you are moving. Like this is a big one. I have to be so focused on this because I would just love during the season to sit and eat, and I can't do that. Do breathing and grounding practices, brief breaks from screens. Get up every, I don't know, hour or set a timer for yourself. Get up and do something. Maybe it's just that you moved, go do the laundry, whatever it is. Do a task or a chore that'll get you moving, just so you're not sitting all the time. And so you're not on screens all the time. And another thing you can do is to create one small personal ritual for yourself. So design a private moment that's just for you. Maybe you light a candle for someone that you miss. Maybe you write down 5 things that, you're grateful for. Maybe you sit with a hot drink in silence. Maybe you review the year with self-compassion rather than criticism. These are some of the things that you can do really easily. They can help you to shift from feeling like the holiday is an overload to feeling like the holiday is a time that matters to you, that has meaning for you. So I hope that some of these things are helpful to you, that you're able to have an amazing holiday, one that's filled with meaning and your own rituals that matter to you, your own traditions that matter to you, whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate, that it really is a time that you can feel as good as you possibly can during this time. Oh, Merry Christmas to you too, Moose. Good to see you here. Moose, you make the world a better place. It's good to see you here. And it's good to see you too, Soulate Lens. You also do. So I'm out for today. I'm going to go pick up somebody at the airport, but I hope that everybody, not at all, please, Moose, you've made such contributions. Don't even say that. So I wish I'm going to be back again tomorrow. I come on roughly the same time. Oh, wait, no, I'm not on tomorrow. Your flight has not arrived yet. So listen, everybody, I won't be on tomorrow, but I will be on Monday. So have a great day. I hope that you take time for yourself, that you remind yourself that you're an amazing person and that the holidays are here for you to enjoy however you like to enjoy them. So enjoy today. It was good to see everybody. Take care.